On the hour, rugbyleague.com news. Brought to you by Thomson Reuters, the global leader for news.
Coming up, Dolphins destroy the Dragons after the Storm beat the Cowboys in Friday night NRL action. Kangaroos on the lookout for a new coach with Big Mel heading across the Nullarbor. And after 2 months out, George Williams set for Challenge Cup final comeback. But first up, the NRL. And in the second Friday night game, the Dolphins hammered the Dragons, racking up the half-century in Brisbane. In fact, winning by 50 points at Suncorp Stadium. Full-time score, Dolphins 56, St George Illawarra 6. It was 28 points to 2 at half-time. The Red V actually scoring first off the boot of Valentine Holmes. But after that, the Dragons conceded 10 tries in what was an absolute shellacking. Another plus for the locals, the return of big guns, Jeremy Marshall-King and Max Plath. Earlier, we had Melbourne, of course, hosting the Cowboys in the first of the Friday night games, with Jerome Hughes among the stars for the Storm, who were way too good for North Queensland. 38 points to 14, the final score at Amy Park. It was Melbourne up 18-4 at half-time after playmaker Hughes helped himself to a first-half double. Meanwhile, Adam O'Brien has apologised to Newcastle fans after he ripped into them following his team's 26-22 Golden Point win over Manly. The coach basically said they were uneducated when it came to rugby league. That was after Newcastle fans booed the Knights off the park at half-time when Manly led 16-0 in the opening game to round 14. The Knights finished up winning, of course, thanks to that try in extra time by Kalen Ponga. In other news, Meninga now confirmed as the first ever coach of the Perth Bears. That announcement widely expected, of course, in the lead up to State of Origin number 2 in the West. Meninga saying yes to the Bears means he's going to finish up as the coach of the Kangaroos, of course, just months before the first Ashes series in 22 years. In Country Rugby League in Queensland, all eyes on Bundaberg for the iconic 47th Battalion. The draw had to be changed because of that last-minute pullout by the Central West Teamsters. The first time we understand that's happened in the history of the famous competition, which began back in 1971 after the late Peter Marcellus, a Greek-born Australian soldier in World War II, donated the trophy with his battalion based in the Wide Bay. And in the northwest of the Sunshine State, excitement builds in the rugby league crazy mining city of Mount Isa after we announced that rugbyleague.com will be coming to town to broadcast the grand final on June 22. In the UK, George Williams set to make his long-awaited comeback from injury when his Warrington team locks horns with Hull KR in the Challenge Cup final. There's been a huge response from the success-starved Robin supporters, the advance party of the Red Army, already down in London as KR looks to lift the cup for the first time in 4 decades. And as for Williams, who has not played since early April, he's had treatment around the clock to get his ankle right and, barring any late drama, will take the field at Wembley on Saturday afternoon. Meantime, Featherstone Rovers head coach Paul Cook has told the BBC his players must embrace the pressure of playing York Knights in the final of the 1895 Cup, in keeping with what's happened previously, but still pretty odd to many observers, including us Antipodeans. The championship teams meet at Wembley after the women's and men's Challenge Cup finals. Fev looking to win the 1895 Cup for the second time, York chasing victory for the first time. On the International Rugby League stage, Morocco and Chile have been relegated to observer status by the IRL. That's despite the Moroccans playing the French barely 3 months ago. And as for the Solomon Islands and El Salvador, they've been expelled by the IRL for not supplying paperwork for 3 years. And finally, France has been confirmed as the host nation for next year's Euro Under-19s. I'm Jason Costigan, and that's the latest in news on rugbyleague.com.